I did all that to forget to record. My apologies.
I even reminded you.
Yeah, you sure did. All good, man. I'll do it again. I'll do it again. I'll do it again.
That
And
was the warm up.
it's all good. I'm warmed up now. All right, so I'll take a look at another pair. Feel free to unmute your mics and make this as I guess proactive. The more energy you guys give me, the more energy I could put out. It's very weird if anyone has ever been on the other side of the screen for someone to be talking and no one says anything. It's very awkward. We can do the same on another pair. All right, cool. Any pair you want to look at, and I don't know if it's MIG or MIG, or I don't know
Yeah,
what they.
it's actually my name is Miguel, but
Okay, Miguel.
like just the shortest Miguel. No, it's all good. I'm not talking because I just really enjoy what you're teaching. I'm just trying to basically learn as much as I can. So no, it's really good.
All right, no problem, Miguel. I'm glad. I'm glad we
And
are.
yeah, and as for another pair, maybe gold and maybe Nasdaq 100, since I think, and oil too, because I know Q likes gold and he's pretty good at it. So maybe we can do those.
Hey, yo, Q, you need to get behind the computer, man. You're the goat for this. I'm gonna leave oil alone, man. I'm not allowed to touch that. He told me silently. He DM'd me. He said I can't talk about oil, so I gotta leave it alone.
True. And he's good with gold.
Yeah, I'm gonna let him do oil whenever he gets the chance. I'll show you Nas, really quickly.
Yeah, NASA maybe gold because you scaled the other account, the small account with gold, and it was pretty impressive.
All right, cool. Let me. I'm still in a gold trade, so I don't want to erase this. Let me just upload a different chart up. Forex.com. Okay.
When you start that $220 account with gold, what lot sizes did you start with until you got over like say 500 to 1,000?
So what I do is I basically take my account size and I divide it by 200. So for every $200, I will put a 0.01. That's what I did for that specific account. So just to give you an idea, let's say you had $1,000 account and I divide that by $200, right? I get five. I take that five and I times that by 10 cents because I'm doing 0.01s for every $200. My first trade was basically 50 cents per pip. So 0.05 would be my starting lot until I hit $400, and then I'll do $1 per pip. That makes sense?
So you on the 220 or 200, whatever you started on a 0.05 with lower risk.
Exactly. 0.05, and I kept my stop losses at 160 pips. So I was basically risking about $80. And the reason, and that would be considered high risk, but for $220, there's no way I'm gonna even get in a trade to make $5 or
No, I mean that makes sense because if you go on the right side of gold, you can definitely get your account right. That's how I grew my original account in Henko Trade and made 500 plus profit. It was just, scalping it and getting in good positions with like a 0.05 to a point 0.1 when I knew I can catch it. But the risk though, if you don't get out of it in time, if you're scalping, it can be deadly on a small account if you're not prepared.
Absolutely. So I'll show you guys exactly what I do to grow the accounts. It takes a lot of discipline. It looks really cool once the account's built up, but it's a bitch. It's not simple to do. And that's what I love about trading. You'll find out who you are behind the screens. If you're a greedy ass, you're gonna know. If you're lazy, you're gonna know. If you're impatient, you're gonna know. Um, so this exposes you. Um, and that's why I love. That's why I say I'd love to talk to people, um, and get some feedback, so I can get a sense of what's really messing you up behind the screen. Because a lot of people know this stuff, and I can hand feed you what's happening, and you'll still mess it up because it's who you are. And that's not to say that you can't change. Obviously, anyone can change, but it's your job to become aware. My biggest issue when I started trading was that I was super greedy. I was not only greedy, but impatient. And those two together is deadly. Impatient and greedy. Terrible, terrible mixture. That's like Henny and Hypnotic, if anyone remembers that, if you're old like me. All right, well, I'm going to show you this, Miguel, but that is definitely what your focus should be, even though you learn this, is how to control your greed and how to control your impatience. All right, but let me get to it. Again, I'll start off on the weekly. Again, why do I start off on the weekly time frame? Is because I'm trading week by week. I'm looking to catch a trade on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And when I mean catch a trade, I'm looking to enter a trade Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm not entering a trade Sunday or Monday. Not because there's not opportunities, but because there's not enough volume. So there's the opportunities right now. But where are the opportunities? On M5, on M15. Why? Because there are absolutely no banks open. What time is it right now? 8:30, 9 o'clock. Are you at what, Australia open or Japan or something? But it's not Monday. All right. So you need to see trading as a business, number one, but also realize that these are traders that are also trading with you at these banks and hedge funds. So the same way people wake up in the morning and don't want to go to work on Monday morning, they feel exactly the same way as you do. They're just traders. So Monday morning, they don't feel like trading. All right. They just came back from the weekend and they don't want to trade. Tuesday, you know, they got their cup of coffee and they're a little bit more excited. And then you know how the weekend's from there. You didn't miss much. I'm going over it all over again because I forgot to record. Do your thing. But I'll start off now. I'm looking at the weekly time frame to look at the overall structure of the market. How do I look at structure? I look for my highest point and then what created that point. Now, what I mean by that is there should be, if I see my highest point here, and I'm looking here because this is the highest point, what created this higher? Where did it come from? It came from this higher low point here, right? And unless this higher low point is broken, gold can continue to rise, okay? You got to see the market not as only trading, but as value, right? So anyone that has bought an iPhone before, right? The first iPhone I bought was $300, right? And it's never returned to $300 ever again. Right now, the iPhone is $1,500, $2,000, depending on the gigabytes you have, right? So if this was an iPhone, it's not going lower than 1,600 or 1,670, right? You can see that, right? So because of that, it's bullish. Everything above this point is bullish, right? Yes, in between it's bouncing around, which is what Sai says, no trade zone, right? Because it's really just bouncing in between these prices. The price overall on gold hasn't decided if it's worth more than above 2,073 or if it's worth less than 1,670, which is really down here, about 1,600, right? But this higher low point, right? If I was to erase this entire time that it's in here, I'm thinking bullish sentiment overall on the weekly. All right, I'm not trading the weekly. I'm just looking for overall direction. All right, but we see what happens. All right, it comes here, gets close to this price, takes off again. Comes down again, takes off again, comes back to the high. Comes down here, dips below, plays around here, consolidates, dips off again. Right, because it can't break this level so far. So my sentiment on gold is bullish overall on the weekly, right? I'm going to erase it again because I don't like to see all of that. I'm going to go on the daily and I'm going to look at the daily. What is my sentiment on the daily, or what is my trend, or what is my structure? They all mean the same exact thing, okay? I'm going to look at this and I'm looking at it based on where I can see it. I can see clearly there's a higher high here and then possibly a new higher low point here, right? Which is, if I zoom in, obviously it came from this last lower high point. It got broken, made a new high, came down, returned to these levels, and tapped it, right? This is what Sai calls an indication point, right? And then this is the correction point, and then gold may look to make new highs, right? but I don't know if that's going to happen unless my H4 timeframes happen. How do I know that? Because in real life, seconds come before minutes, right? So the same thing in the charts. Hours or 4 hours come before the day happens. Days happen before it becomes a week. Okay, so you got to keep that in mind. I'm looking at the weekly to see what could happen overall for the week. It's bullish, so I'm thinking bullish. But I'm gonna come for the day. On the daily, am I bullish? Yes, I'm bullish overall. Okay, cool. On H4, am I bullish? Absolutely not. Not bullish at all. How do I know that? If none of this was here, I have my high point here, or my higher high point, or my indication point, whatever you guys want to call it. Right? Indication point, there should be a correction, right? But I'm keeping in mind this higher low point. Why this higher low point? Because again, if I was buying an iPhone for 1976, I know Apple's not selling it for less than this. Prices of the iPhones are only going up. They're not going down. So same thing with gold for here, for now. So as it bounces around, let's see what happens. Okay. Takes out this low. Okay. Tested this low. I say tested because there wasn't a candle that broke through it. All right. All right. Still no candle that breaks through. So you can see that they don't want to, sellers cannot break below here so far. But I'm keeping that in mind that they are pushing it lower. I get a wick here, wick here, wick here. So it is pushing lower. Continue. Right? They pushed up higher, but they failed to go above these highs here. So what do we have? We have a high or higher high that came from here. We have a lower high that's lower than this high, and then another lower high that's lower than this high. Okay. Although I am bullish, I know that right now, if I draw a line like this, the market's pushing down. Right? It's no longer stair stepping up or pushing up. Right? You got this higher low, this higher low, this higher low. Comes down, makes a low, lower than this low. Okay. I know there's a sign of bears in the market or sellers. But I'm not going to take advantage of it until they can prove it. How do they prove that? When they make another low. Right? So I'm not playing in here. I'm not taking any trades in here. Sometimes I do, and that's a part of me breaking my rules. And usually, it'll slap me on the hand and remind me why I should just listen to my rules. All right, but let's play it out. All right, gave me a new lower low, or size says indication. What do we wait for after an indication? A correction, right? Now, to me, all that means is lower low. What comes after a lower high? What should come after a lower, a lower low would be a lower high point. So, like Sai says, a correction. And then he says a continuation, right? At that point, you guys would be looking to enter. Again, I'm going to erase everything because I don't want all that on the screen. We got an indication here. He's waiting for his correction, which I'm waiting for a lower high point. Okay, it doesn't give it to me here, which is completely fine. This is what happened in real life. Gave me a new indication. I'm not going to chase the market. The market has to come to me. I wanted it to come up here and then drop, but it didn't. That's fine. That doesn't mean I'm going to chase this. I'm going to come back, realize the new indication, and wait for my opportunity. Got a new indication. It should correct itself and then continue lower. Does that happen? Absolutely. All right. Now, for me, I like trades like this. Yes, it's in the, what size says, no trade zone. Right? Because you're waiting for it to break below here, which is a smart idea. However, I always enter here. Right? I don't enter my heaviest position though. Keep my stops above these highs. Why this high here? Because this high is what led to this lower low. So if the trade decides to go above this point here and break above, I know buyers are in control. Right? So let me continue. We got that new low, and that's the reason why I took the trade from right where it's at. Why did I take this trade? Gave me the indication, pulled back. Not only did it pull back, and this is when you, I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with the candlesticks or price action, again, whatever you want to call it. It wicks out here. Now, if you want more details, that's when you will then go to H1, right? You can see a wick. Again, there's a support level here, or I don't want to confuse anyway, but the support level here, right? This low point was broken. If you draw a little line here, you can see it broke it, made an indication on H1, small one, returned here, tested, tried to break above this price, couldn't. So ideally, you really could have put your stop here, right? Giving you a big 1 to 7, right? Retesting, coming up, retesting it, or indication, correction, and then continuation. All right, if you go on at 15, you can see it even cleaner. If you wanted an even cleaner entry, this would have been it here, depending on your patience, right? Again, structure is everything. So I'm going to point out the structure first. We got this lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, right? We're not doing anything in here because this is the indication portion of it, right? We're letting it do what it wants to do, right? I'm drawing this to show you your entry point, right? We got a new higher high here, gave us a higher low point, give us a higher, another higher high right above this high. And then what did it do? Off of this higher high point, broke, made a new lower low point here. So I'm looking for a retest or a pullback up into these areas again and enter off of these lower high points. All right, that's more advanced or more like detailed if you have the patience for it. I have the patience for it, but I'd rather not do entries like that. I'd rather stay on H4 time frame and catch my trades off of H4. Why? Because that gives me 4 hours of time away from the computer. Okay, so the trade that I currently am in and took was here, and the way I played it, if I go back in to last week, was right here. Made the indication. When it was down here, I was not paying attention to the market. And again, just keep this in mind. Let me just click to when it actually pulls back, gives you that correction point, right? Look what day it is. Look what day it is, Thursday. Perfect time to enter the market. What happens? Where are we? Okay, look, let me go back. Okay, on Monday, got this push here. Tuesday. And then when does the market wake up? From Tuesday on, look. Boop, 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 boop. Right, Tuesday to Thursdays. That's where the trades are at, right? And we got another Thursday trade right here. I entered here. And I'm not coming back to the market for another 4 hours. Why? Because I'm basing it off H4. Keeps me away from the charts. All right, this was the first trade I entered here. And then as Sai says, indication, right, correction, and then continuation, I put in my second entries, right, when it broke this level here, with stops a lot tighter. Okay, and then I just held it to these lows, right? And then my exit points are this low here, obviously, because like Sai says, they showed you they can take it from this level to here. And then besides below this point, where can they go to? I look to my left, right? It's lower than this point, right? I look to my left. Where was my higher low points? There's one right here, right? Wick, but I'm gonna go right here. What's below this point? Another one right here. Why? Because I know it's hard to believe, but there's people still holding buys here. And why is it selling? To take them all out. Take the people out, because usually, just like me, I place my stop above here on the sell side. When they're buying, they're placing their stops below here. Below here, below here. All right, so what do? That's the reason why it took out these lows right here. because they're targeting these higher low points, right? It should give us for the rest of the week, right? Pull back up and then push lower into these lows here to take out these stops. However, my daily to me is bullish and my weekly is bullish because it hasn't broke these levels. So my sentiment overall is bullish on daily. I mean, on gold. However, H4 is showing me that they could push lower, but this thing could just take off and go bullish, and I won't be surprised if it does. Get rid of this here. If it does, what created this low point? These highs. I'll wait for this. Break above that, giving me a new high or an indication, correction, and then continuation. And I rather take this trade, this bullish trades, because my daily and weekly are bullish. And that tells me if it does do this, gold is gone. It's not coming back. It's making new highs. It's going to come test these highs again. Because our daily, that even looks good if you just look at the chart here. This looks like it'll possibly happen, but I'll let the market show me. Before I stop talking, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that people were typing in the chat. Stupid question, but do wicks matter? Wicks absolutely matter. How many pips does that stop? Are you referring to gold where I had my stop? Stop was boom. Boom right here. It was at this high. It's about 90 pips. That was my first entry. My first entry is never my heaviest entry, so I don't really care how far the stop loss is for the first entry. I just want to, since my biggest hurdle when I first started trading was impatience and greed, the way I fixed it was get in the trade so I can calm my impatience down. Just don't go heavy, all right? In case I'm wrong. Okay,
that's a little nugget that I appreciate you sharing.
Anytime, my pleasure. Good night. And then once it gave me, what was I on M30? Yeah, on M30, when it gave me this break here, this lower low point, lower low, lower high, I entered here and I placed that one. My entry was here. I placed that above these highs, right? Because at that point I already knew, or not knew, but I knew the market was bearish overall because it already had broke. Gave me, I keep saying broke, but it gave me this indication already. So I knew at this point, if it was going to turn around and go bullish, that's okay. But I'm going to take a tight stop. So I had a 16 pip stop. Currently right now, that's like a 1 to 15 just on this trade. But I'm looking for it to take out these lows here. So it could turn into a 1 to 24. But that's how you grow those little accounts, is by being patient and then catching trades like this. 16 pip stop. Like if you had a $220 account like where I started, and you divide that by a 16 pip stop loss, you're throwing $13 per pip. A one lot, almost $20 per pip on $200, right? But you're only risking $80. So right now, if I had a $220 account, and let's say we're currently here, 200 pips, oops, your $200 account you'd be up $2,700 just on that one trade.
You said that as if you used a what lot size?
So
And you're probably talking about a 1 to 500 leverage account as well.
yeah. I only use 1 to 500, besides the OANDA that's forced to 1 to 50. But you my stop. So basically, I'm taking $80 out of my $220, and I'm risking that. So if I take $80 and I divide it by a 16 pip stop, that gives me excuse me, $80 divided by 16. Did I do the math wrong? I definitely did. I did the math wrong. My apologies. Take $80, 16. Yeah, okay. So you'd be up. Let me see, 200. Yeah, you'd be up $1,000. Sorry about that on your $200 account if you're still holding the trade. At some point, you were up, shit, like $1,500 on $200. So size challenge is definitely possible, but you have to be very patient for that. And here's another nugget: anybody that's in trading is greedy. Anyone that trades is greedy. Period. That's what brought everyone into the markets. This is greed.
I can always get just a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. There's always a little bit more. Are you looking now at a correction at around 1945? Enter to more shorts, or if we're not in, it would be a good entry if we correct. Okay. If I'm not in, the only way I am trading it is if it comes back to this level here, right? Because we got a new indication. We need that. Again, I'm going to erase everything because I hate seeing drawings on my chart. Right? You got the indication here. I'm going to wait for correction. And somewhere around these areas, dependent on if it's Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday. If it happens tonight, I'm not in it. If it happens tomorrow, I'm still not in it. All right? Because Sundays or Mondays is where all the funky stuff happens. These big boys know when all the retail traders are active on the charts. They're very aware of it. All right, just the same way all of you are excited about trading, right? They know that they were there at one point is what I'm saying. I was 13 years ago, 12 years ago, I was just as excited as everyone else that's in size group. Right? So I know how everyone feels, which is why I know how to trade, because I know everyone's trading Sunday or Monday. Because they're all eager to be in the markets. And until they realize they're greedy and impatient, they'll continue to pay people that are patient, like myself and anyone that has succeeded in trading. All right, but that happens on Sunday and Monday. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And also, there's also algorithms that you're trading against that don't turn on Monday. They only turn on Tuesdays. Okay, so just a little nugget there. But there's a lower high, lower low. I'll wait for a pullback into these areas around, just like you said, 1945, depending on the broker you're using or wherever you placed your line. I'm assuming at the wicks here, if you said 1945, which is cool. But really, it's this whole area that you want it to return to, right? Because the same way there's buyers in these wicks, right? At one point, it came down here, wicked out, and there was pending orders here, right? And they got pushed up. It can happen on the back end here, right? So there'll be pending sells in these wicks. So it's really this whole area that you got to pay attention to. All right, but I'm expecting this to come up and then push lower and make new lows. However, I'm very aware that the daily, based on how I analyze, is bullish and the weekly is bullish. So there's still a higher probability that this lower high point is taken out and we return higher. So I'm keeping that in mind. And that's a long answer to your question, Miguel, but I hope I answered it.
It's perfect. Thank you so much for that.
No problem. We've been going for like an hour. Anybody want to hop in? Let's make this a little open dialogue. That'd be cool if you guys are up for it. Do you chart NARs? Yeah, I chart anything. Let's see. You weren't here when I said it, but I don't look at pairs. I look at setups. What I mean by that is I'm looking for something that's clear. Gold to me is clear. I see they made a new low here, made a new lower high, they made a new low, or in size terms. Sorry if I'm talking in different language, but basically an indication, a correction, continuation. Right? In this case, indication, correction, continuation, which is a new indication, correction, continuation, right? So as long as I can see that clearly, I'm trading it. Okay, I go through these charts here. Again, you can see them here. Boom, and new low. Okay, bearish. I would trade. I trade anything that's visible to me. I'm trying to give you a chart that's not clear. Okay, this here, nonsense. I'm not trading it. Why? Because we got a low here, came up, made a new high here. Can't break this high. This is just too wacky for me. not trading it. I mean, the daily is clear. I can see this high, this higher low, this new high, this higher low, this new high. On the daily, it's bullish. I can see that on the daily, but once I go down lower, it gets a little too choppy, so I leave it alone. But I'll trade NAS. Another nugget trading NAS is that you should only really be looking for buys on NAS and like US 30 or the S&P because you're trading stocks or the stock market just in the Forex market. So you really should just be looking for buys when you're trading NAS and US 30, but there are sell opportunities, right? That's why a lot of these people caught these sells here, but what does it always do? Return to new highs. Why? Because there's stocks in there like Apple and Amazon, all the big companies. And if people are not getting rid of their stocks, there's no reason for this thing to drop. All right, so these right here are just ways while how market makers confuse people to get in on sells. However, I am keeping in mind here, right? We got a new high here. What made this high was this higher low point. We broke it, got below it. Not only did we break it or give an indication, came back up, and it continued. It made a new low again. Gave me a lower high, which is an indication, correction, another indication, which is a continuation. However, what happened here on this low point? Where did this low point come from? It came from this high here. So let me get rid of this. So now I know I got to pay attention to this here. It broke this high, gave me a new high, right? It didn't fully correct itself. Corrected a little bit and then gave me another high. All right, so I'm paying attention at the highs that they're taking out as well. All right, they got rid of this high. Why? Because there's stop losses here, right? The way it was going down, people placed their stops above here. Place their stops above here. Place their stops above here. So they took them all out here. Boop, 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 boop. If you've ever been on the opposite side of this trade, you know how that feels. All right, we'll go to the H4. What is my H4 doing? Took out these highs here. Made a new high. Pulled back or indication. Gave us a correction. And then continuation. So I'll get rid of these lines again because all I need to pay attention to, I know my daily is pushing up or making higher highs and higher lows. What made this high was this higher low point. So I'm looking for buys in anywhere in here, right? Anywhere in here. Why? Because I'm seeing the market's pushing higher, right? In size language, again, made an indication, waiting for a correction. And once it gets in here, again, it has to be Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. I don't care what happens. So tonight, I'm only on here to break down the charts for you guys, but this is what I would do. All right. I'll highlight this portion here. Boom. I'll put an alert here because I want the best entry. I don't want an entry. I want the best entry, right? So yeah, I can trade it when it gets here and gets into these zones here, but the best entry would be in here, right? Lower. The lower I buy, the better. All right. Yeah, this make it a little tighter, right? So this whole area here, again, indication, correction. I got my alert here. You can put an alert here, and I'm not looking. And when it gets here, it better be Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, or I'm not trading it. All right, and I'm gonna keep saying that until you guys understand that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is when the market moves. All right, look. Okay, where are we at? Look, higher low, Tuesday. Look at Monday. Monday, doing nothing. Tuesday, boom, explosion. Look again. So you want to give this lower high point. Oh my God, it's a Tuesday. Look, Tuesday, boom, explosion. I could go anywhere in the market and look for moves. Where are they happening? Look, Wednesday, boom, explosion. They're not happening on Mondays. Look at Monday. Nothing. It's all fake outs. So don't trade Sunday, Monday. So I'll set it up like this. I'm looking for buys on NAS and I'll leave it alone. And I'll do all this fancy stuff for you guys, but I don't do this for myself. All right, put all this, none of this stuff really matters, right? I put a random stop because I don't know where the stop is until the market comes down here and gives me the opportunity to place a stop in the right place. But this is the high that it came to. So like Sai says, we know from here and up, they're willing to buy from here to here. So this is my first TP. Then I look left, right? Because remember, you always got to think about who they're taking out on the opposite side. People sold, right? So they took all these people that sold and put stop losses here, 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 here. They took them all out, right? And they also took these people out. So where's the next person going to have the stop loss? They're going to have it up here. Okay. Boop. Above that, where are they going to go? It's above this, up here. Boop. I was going to go above here, up here. Boop. So really, Nas should return up here eventually. But you only know that when the market shows its hand. All right, you're trading as the market shows its hand, right? Because how many people were shorting down here in that Discord? And what did I do? I waited. Right, we got Thursday. Looks a little choppy here, right? Friday, choppy, choppy, choppy. Monday, right? Fake moving up. Tuesday, right? And then what? Wednesday, boom, push. Took everybody out of these lower high points, right? Because everything else is bullish. You only have H4 bearish. Right now we're back bullish. Our daily is bullish. Our weekly is bullish. This thing should rocket. It should make new highs, but we got to let the market show us that it wants to make new highs. How do we know it wants to make new highs? As long as it doesn't breach this point here. As long as it doesn't take this low out, I'm buying it. I'm only looking for buys unless it makes a new low here or a new indication. I hope that made sense, Aisha. If you're still here, I don't even know who's here. Yeah, that's all I got, really.
Just a quick question. In the NAS situation here, assuming the price comes back to the no trade zone, the stop loss would be very big or very large. How would you go about putting a stop loss in there?
Right. So I'll let the market return here. And at that point, when it gets here, I'll then go down to, M30, M15, and I'll look for this right here. Let me just, right. Assuming it does this, I don't know what it's going to do. I'll just wait. All right. Because in order for it to come down, it's got to wave down. It's got to make new indications, new corrections, new lows. New indication, correction, new lows. It's the only way it can come back down here. It's not going to go straight down. Sometimes that does happen with news, but for the most part, it's climbing down. Well, not climbing down. I guess stair stepping down. All right, I'm waiting for this. Give me a new low. Boom. Then I'm looking for it to break and give me a new high. All right, I'm not entering yet. I need it to come down and not break this last low that it gave me. Give me a higher low, and then I'll enter here. Let it push up higher. Right, and I'm placing my stop either here or here. Obviously, your entry would be here. You would be, or let's be more realistic, like here. All right, you could place your stop here. That's way too risky. You could do that. That's what I would do, depending on how the candles close on this time frame, or M15 or M30. Ideally, you want to put it here. All right, so the trade will look more like that, which is a 1 to 6. It's less than 100 points. All right, so that's how the trade would look, but you don't know until the market goes down here and shows you. It could be smaller, the stop. It could be something like this, like I showed you earlier, like that, or it could be a little bit wider. But the stop, I don't know what I just did. The stop doesn't really matter. It matters, again, to your greed. It's the only thing that it matters to. Because the only reason you don't want to stop like this is because you can't put a big lot size. It's the only true reason why you care. If it's like this, you're excited because you could put a big lot size. I don't care where it is. I just want to be right on my trade. I want the probability to be higher. That's all I care about. If my probability is higher that I put my stop here that doesn't get stopped out, but I still make a 1 to 2, I'm happy. Because the whole point of trading is to make money. And the only way you make money is, funny enough, is not chasing the money. If you made $1,000, cool. If you made 50, cool, you won. You made money.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you drop down to a lower time frame to basically find your stop loss area. Like
Yeah.
you just follow market structure on a lower time frame.
Correct. So I'll let H4, we got our indication, pullback or a correction. Once it does that on H4, then I'll come down on M15 and look for an entry point. Something like this. And again, you can place your stop here or here. Or you could place a smaller lot here, like this, a smaller risk, like 50, 60 bucks, because at that point, you're looking at a 1 to 23. So you can do $50 and make, what is that? 50 bucks times 23. If you're risking $50 to make 1,200, right? So it's worth putting it. But ideally,
I know people are asking about fair value gaps. The way you drew that on the 15-minute, it comes down into one before it goes back up. The way you drew it.
on the 15-minute,
Yeah, like you see it right there.
how
How you drew your
right here?
blue. Yep.
Yep, I see that.
So that's a good way to explain that to anyone that doesn't know what a fair value gap is.
I mean, I know there's some indicators for that, but I don't really use indicators. I know there is one though. Yeah, that's basically it for Nas, and that's basically how I mark up in trade, but it all comes down to patience, being honest. It's
So
hope.
going into this week, have you seen any setups that they're looking juicy?
The one right now would be this. This looks, again, what's juicy is what's clear, right? That's like if you're going up to, again, I'm assuming you're heterosexual. If you're into chicks, you know, that's why you can't be picking up chicks in a bar when it's dark or in a club. It's too dark. I need, hold on, let's go outside. Let me see your face. It needs to be clear out before I make a decision. Same thing with the charts. I need to clearly see a new indication, a new high, pull back, which is a correction, a higher low point, and then take it higher for continuation. So that's clear to me. I see it, right? But if I'm trying to find a pair that's not too clear, okay, here, okay, we got a new high here, cool. But then in here, it's just basically in a range, right? It's stuck right here. Cool. I'm not trading it. Next trade. Okay, this is going up. Clearly, this is another good one. What's happening? New highs or new indications, corrections, new highs, corrections, new highs. I could see this. It can continue to do this. Right? I'll trade this. What else? Let's see.
How does EA look?
EA, boom. Oh, that's clear too. Right? So again, I look at that weekly. Why do I look at the weekly? Again, we're trading for the week. So why not look at the whole week? Right? What's possible here? We got a new high or a new indication right here, indication. We got the correction, right? So what should it do? It should make new highs, right? Now, when I look left, this is something else I got to keep in mind here, right? It made a new high, but above this point, where's the new high? All the way up here, right? Now, this wick is ridiculous, so I wouldn't necessarily look for it to come here. I'd probably look for something like this. Right. And again, I'm only looking this on the weekly. I'm not trading the weekly. I'm looking at the bigger picture of what could happen. Why am I looking for buys or on the weekly? Is because we got an indication here or a new high, a correction, and a continuation. And until this breaks this point here, what made this high point, right? It came from here. So unless the market can push down here and break this, it can do whatever it wants in here. It can do this. Well, all right, it can do all this. It could come all the way down here. Well, guess what? It can go from here all the way back up here. Why? Because we can clearly see there's buyers. Right? There's a bunch of buyers here. So what's to say that it can't come here and bounce again, do the same thing again? Right? So my weekly is bullish. Again, I'm gonna erase it. But I'm just giving you my thought process. At a new high, came from here. Really? Indication, correction. Okay, now we're playing in buyer's market above this point, how size sets. Okay, I know we're bullish on the weekly. So for the week, we're looking like more buys. When I look at the daily, we got a new high here. What made this high? This is more detailed. What made this high point? This high low point. But what happened here? Broke, made lows below this point. Right? What made this low point are these highs. Broke above this point. What made this high? This low point, but it got broken. So again, it switched. Right now, this is bearish. Right now, it's kind of choppy on the daily. Why? Because a lot of this is happening, right? We got buyers in the market. And then we got sellers took over again. And we got buyers again. So it's very choppy here. Anything can happen. If I look at my H4, it's pretty clear. We got new indications, new corrections, continuations, which is really another indication. Another indication, correction, a new continuation, right? Again, where do I want it to go? Again, you trade, you want the market to come to you, come to prices that you want to buy stuff, right? That's like if you went to go buy a car and all you had was 5K and they're telling you it's 8 grand, you're not buying the car. But if it went down to 5K, you're buying it. It's the same thing in the market. Okay, I needed to come down here because that's what I could afford, or that's what I'm willing to pay. So indication, correction, and then it should continue higher again. But I needed to come in here into these trading zones Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Or what's not happening? What's not happening if it doesn't come on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday?
Trading is not happening.
And it's not happening. I'm not trading. All right. So again, and this is another example here, right? Because yesterday, last week, right? Bullish, right? On the daily. Bullish on the daily. So it's bullish on the weekly, bullish on the daily. But what did I do last week? I sold it. I sold it right here, right? It looked like this. And why? Because that's against my rules. That's exactly why. I mean, I didn't lose because I broke even, but I should have lost, right? We got a new low here, or indication, and then I sold it right here. However, my daily and my weekly overall bigger picture is bullish. So I knew not to trade it, but again, impatience and greed. Really, that's a greed move. I'm greedy, so I got in, right? I got in right here. Boom. And I know DeFi Ridge was also in there with me. Put on the stops here.
I actually made money off that, then got in the buys.
Yeah, same here. I made money. I forgot where I closed. Can look. I think it was here. I didn't close. I broke even. Yeah, broke even. Right, and then boom, broke into new highs. Right, this is the right trade. You notice how the sells are weak, but the buys are very strong. Why? Because my daily and my weekly are bullish. Right, and again, when did this happen? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Boom. Look, Wednesday, Thursday. Boom. Push. So what's gonna happen? Sunday, Monday, it's probably gonna come down here. Then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, boom, right back up. All right, but I don't know that until, again, comes here. Make my little pretty zones. All right. Again, I'm putting it here because I want the market to come here. It can come right here, and if it gives me the setup, I'll take it. but I want the market to come to me, and I want it to come to me at a better price. Let me make this a little tighter.
I'll give it to you. The simplicity of how you're showing it on the charts with minimal stuff is perfect. I think that's probably what a lot of people need to see, including me.
Appreciate it, bro. And I'm doing my best to keep it simple because funny enough, the more you know, the less money you make.
Yeah, you overcomplicate it. I mean, it's kind of like what I just said in the chat. Like the way you're doing it, it's like you're reading a book when it really comes down to it. You just have to see the story the chart's giving you and stuff, and then analyze that book and follow the story the book's telling you.
I love that. Exactly. All right, so this is my sentiment right here on EA. Boop. That's it. Now, again, the stop is determined on what happens when price gets down here. So right now, I don't know anything as far as a stop. But as far as targets, I know it should. I don't know. High probability can come from here, go up here, make... Oh, sorry, I made the wrong line here. Here. Right? And the reason why I usually just go here is it because they already... Right? The reason why I came here and stopped was because there were stop losses. There are stop losses here. Stop losses here, right? So you notice how it goes right above it. Take these guys out and drop. So really the next push higher, if it's going to go higher, is going to go here because there's stops here, right? And if it takes these highs out, where's the next high? Going up here, right? Or the average of these here, right? Something like this maybe would be a little safer, right? Oop, 1 to 7 if the stop loss is there. Could be tighter, could end up being 1 to 20, could be something you got to put like this. But guess what? You're 3xing your money. Like you're literally 10x's from $1 million if you think about it. And this is a 3x. 10x's from $1 million. All right, so just keep that in mind.
I'll say for fun, one more chart, maybe do like XRP, because I know you've been crushing XRP. It'd be cool to see you draw that up and go over crypto just to show something outside of Forex or indices.
All right, so this is one of the trades. I'm still currently in here down here, but I'll break it down. This is one I don't want to don't want to erase this one. Let me go to a different chart. Keep going. All right. Okay. Now I'll make this more interactive. Why do I have this marked off and this portion marked off?
Pivot points. The previous high, I mean, it was a lower high and lower low.
Right. So again, no one's willing to buy above below this point. So if it cannot break this, it's not going any higher. So on the weekly, it's bearish, even though it's making these moves right here, which is why I'll explain why I took it. Right. And also there's more like fundamentals or news, what's happening with XRP. If people don't follow crypto, they're winning their lawsuit against the SEC. All right, well, they technically won it already, so there's some fundamentals behind it, but just looking at the structure of it, you can kind of see the fundamentals playing into it, which is indication, correction, going higher, right? Indication, correction, going higher, which is an indication, another correction, should go higher to test these prices again. Right, so that's the reason why it's waving back up or making indications, corrections, and going higher or correcting, but continuation. Okay. And then I look at the overall structure, which was bearish on the weekly, which was this lower high point to here. However, on the daily, it has its own structure points, right? So if we look at this low, where this will come, go ahead. Someone's mic went off. I'm not sure they're gonna ask a question. No? All right, cool. So this low point here, where did this low point come from? Came from this lower high point, right? What do we get? An indication right through it. If I draw a line here, you got a nice indication. It came down, never breaking these low points that gave you this high, right? Which is why it bounced here. Kept bouncing, because at this point, everyone's willing to buy. XRP at 32 cents, anywhere from 28 cents to 32 cents, everyone's willing to buy. So I know if prices return down here eventually, if they do, I'm buying it again with my eyes closed. All right, but it's a little more advanced. And what I mean buying, I don't mean trading it. I mean investing into it. But that's a whole different conversation. All right, so we got the indication. Came down here, made new lows, and then again took off, made new highs, or new indications. All right. Indication, small one, down, corrects, and then makes a new indication or a continuation, right? So we're somewhere around here when I took the trade. All right, why did I take the trade? Oh shoot, man. All right. Why did I take the trade? Let's zoom in. Our daily was bullish. Our weekly is bearish. Overall, the market's pushing down. However, the daily is making new indications, which is right here. Boom, indication. Tested these highs, which is the lower high from the weekly. No coincidence. Comes down, corrects, right? When it corrects, what made this high? This low point right here. Guess what? They couldn't break it. Boop, I know we're going higher. They're testing it. Boom, boom. Can't break it. Everyone's willing to buy above here. No one's getting rid of their phones, their cars, their iPhones. If you were here long enough to know those analogies, right? No one's getting rid of them. They're keeping them. All right. So, and it was bullish above these points, right? I'm looking for it to trade above here, right? So, like Sai says, there's buyers above this red line above. There's buyers, right? So really up to here, right? And I go to my H4. What am I looking for? A switch. Switch in structure or an indication, right? Makes a low here. Made this high. This low made this high. Broke below it. Okay, there's sellers down here, right? Let me zoom in a little bit more. Our lowest point here. What made this lowest point? This here. Okay, did that get taken out or did we get an indication? Yeah, we sure did. Indication. Came down, corrected, took out these lows. So I didn't trade it. I didn't know if it was going bullish or bearish. Took out these lows and they also took out these highs. So right now I'm not doing nothing. But then I get a new indication. Boom. Okay, cool. Got an indication here. And again, what do I want prices to do? I want them to come down here, but they didn't. That's just the name of the game. Cool. I'm still chasing it. Right? Give me an indication here. Guess what? Didn't come back here. So I left it alone again. Right? But I knew this was from my daily right here. Boom, indication. Oh, baby. What'd they do? Came down. Entry right there. Bang. Right? So I never call any of these, which is fine. I let the price come to me. I entered right here. And DeFi Rich could attest to it. I think we called it together. And then it just launched from there. Right. So overall it's bullish. Again, how do I know? Because there's a high here or new indication. Right. And new indication. Trying to do my best to teach you how Sai teaches it, but I've been trading my way so long that I just got those words stuck in my head. So I apologize. Got an indication, correction, right? Tested these areas, but never went below this point, right? Because this point made this new high, or the lowest point that they can sell to was this point and above, right? There's buyers from here all the way up there, right? So unless it takes this point out, I'm still looking for buys, which I'm still in the trade now, but my stops are at break even. I took some money out when it made this big push. Now, where did this big push come from, right? If I was just to take, I don't have it here anymore. Let me see. Right, if I just
I have a quick question.
Sure, just let me go through this before I forget what I'm saying. Okay, so I pushed up here. Why? Right? You go to your daily. Look at that. Where are your stops? Stop here. Rips right through it. Stop here. Right? Rips right through it. That's the reason why I went up there. Go ahead, Miguel.
Yeah, just in regards to the pivot lows, to the lows that you choose. I see you. How do you tell which one is best? I mean, in order to be broken, like,
Okay.
because I see you chose a very tiny pivot point on the
Yeah.
low side. Why not the other one? Why not the clearer pivot low?
Are you saying this one here?
Yeah, yeah. For example, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the reason why is because in here, I know when I'm looking at H4, I'm also looking at H1. I know in here there's a pivot point on H1, right? Right there. Right. So
Okay, got you. Okay,
I'm
okay.
looking at H1 through H4. So I chose that as opposed to this. But ideally, yeah, this is
Okay, gotcha.
based off H4, yeah, it would be this low point here. You're correct on that. Right. So it really could come to here and go up. But since this is crypto, I'd rather get out sooner than find out, because if anyone's traded crypto before, this thing will come from here and whips all down here if it wants to. It'll blow all through
Yeah,
your
yeah, no,
stop.
fair enough.
So I'm not
Yeah,
trying to get
fair enough.
stopped out. But overall, we got the indication, right? However, I'm keeping in mind that it is flowing, right? Giving me this flow here, which is, hey, stop. Okay. Higher low failed to give me a new high, gives me a new low. Fails to make a new high, gives me a lower high here. But what did it fail to do? It's failing to give me a new low so far. So prices could just push up from right here. Right. But I'm looking for a new buy opportunity. Where'd this low come from? Came from these highs. Right. Or it's really this whole area, this whole price point. Right. So the market's just showing you, if again you were buying an iPhone, again, this is not real life, but if you're buying an iPhone at 69 cents 50, 0.6950 or 0.775, no one's willing to pay more than this, right? How do we know that? Because it came up and they pushed it away. Everyone said, nah, man, it's too expensive. All right, so at this point, they're getting rid of it. But if it can do this, get above these points, all right, cool. People are willing to buy above these prices. Now I know it's willing to continue up from here. I don't know that until it stops waving bearish. However, it should do this, but it just has to happen before it breaks these lows. So I'm thinking buy up until it breaks these lows. If it breaks these lows. I see the chat box going off. Let me see. I gotta jump off. Anytime. I don't know if he's still here, but anytime, Pete. All right, man. But if anyone doesn't have any more questions, I'm about to wrap it up because I usually don't stay on the charts on Sunday.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Thank you so much for your time. That was really, really good.
My pleasure. I mean, if you got down to do this again, we could definitely do it again. Joshua,
Yeah, yes, I'm a little
Yes,
bit
please.
I'm a little bit late to the Zoom because I was working, but I have a quick question.
Sure.
It's just with pivot point, like you was mentioning a pivot point. What exactly is a pivot point?
But basically, you'll hear multiple people say different things. There's swing points, their pivot points, their low points, their higher low points, their lower low points. All it's really saying is price came from this point here, or a pivot low point, or a higher low, right? So prices came, gave you an indication. I gotta start using erase all this again. I don't like all that on the chart. All right, give us an indication. Give us a correction, right? Correction, and then continuation. So the pivot point is basically when it corrects from the correction to the continuation point. That's a pivot point at this point.
Got
You
you.
could call it
right, thank
an
you.
elbow.
Yeah, an elbow, a pivot point. There's so many words for it, but everyone's saying this. They're basically saying the same thing.
All right, thank
Yeah,
you.
no,
I
that
appreciate
was
that.
awesome.
You're welcome, man.
Elbows.
Any other questions? If not, I'll wrap it up.
No, it was really good. Just maybe for next time, if it's possible, because I think it might be long, but just talking a little bit about the psychology, because I think a lot of people are struggling with that, including me, the first one, because for example, you might know a strategy or you might know your market structure very well or quite well, but you would still fail. Like I found out that even though a lot of people are looking at the same chart, even if you get a signal, some people will still have different results because um, people react differently to how the charts move and the price moves and everything. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm making myself clear or if you understand what I mean by that.
No, I'm following you 100%. The 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 trick to trading or the whole goal to trading is to learn about yourself. And once you learn about yourself, again, I don't know who was here to hear it or not, or if it was recorded. I just want to say it again. You have to find out and you have to be willing to admit to yourself, because you could lie to everyone else in the chat, you could lie to yourself, you could lie to everyone. I mean, but when it comes to the chart, like if you showed me your trade history, I'll tell you if you're greedy, I'll tell you if you're impatient, I'll tell you, I can tell you who you are by looking at your trades. All right. But if you can't say, I am greedy, you are going to keep losing in this market, because you can lie to everyone else, but you can't lie to yourself. All right. So if you can't admit that part to yourself, I know, Miguel, you're going to say something. Just give me a sec if I lose my train of thought. You can't lie to yourself. So the minute you go, I'm greedy. Okay, cool. I'm greedy. That's fine. You're never gonna, you ever heard the saying, history repeats itself or history mimics, right? That's the same thing with yourself. Just like if you met someone when they were 13, you didn't see them for 30, 40 years. And let's say you grew up with them. You go chill with them. There's an 80% chance they are the same person. There's an 80% chance. They have the same habits. They eat the same way. They sleep the same way. They're doing the same exact thing every single year, every single day. There's only those select few of people that change what they do. How do they change what they do? They realize who they are, right? If you're a lazy ass and you're fat, sorry for if anyone's overweight, I'm just saying it that way, being real. Until you say, I'm fat, you're never going to the gym. And that's just the reality of it. You're not. Until you say, I'm a fat ass, I need to lose weight. All right, now I'm going to the gym because you admitted it to yourself, not because I said you're fat, not because of anything else. All right. But you admit that first, and then you find ways to trick yourself. What I mean by that is, okay, I'm fat. Okay. What's the best thing I can do? I can go to the gym, but that's pretty hard if you're fat because you don't want to go to the gym. Okay. Now I know I watch TV a lot, right? Okay, cool. So I sit on my ass a lot. What can I do to trick myself? I can put the remote far as hell from the TV. So when I sit on the sofa, guess what? Shit, bro, I hid that shit. I hid it fucking 20 feet away from me. I have to get up. I want to watch TV. I tricked myself into do a little workout. I got to get up and walk. Cool, you did it. You tricked yourself. All right. Now, when you do that and you realize that, oh shit, all I did was put it over here. I put the controller a little further and I had to get up. That wasn't so hard. Let me try eliminating, I don't know, bread from my diet. And so you go to the grocery store, you don't buy bread. Right? You tricked yourself. You're aware of who you are. Not because if I said, hey, Tim or Miguel or Aisha, here's a piece of bread. Guess what? You might take it. Right? Because I'm offering it to you. But if it's not in your house, you won't eat it. Right? Same thing with trading. I was greedy, right? Okay, how did I fix my greed? I get in the trade early, right? But I tell myself, you can get in early because you're greedy, because history repeats itself. I know I'm still greedy. Everyone's still greedy. That's why they trade, right? Okay, so since I'm greedy, how can I trick myself? I can get in the trade with a 0.01. Yes, the whole point is not to make a lot of money off that first initial trade. It's so I can stop my greed for a little bit. Okay, and now when the trade is actually set up, now I properly risk and risk a little bit more. Because now everything aligned. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. I got my indication, right? I got my correction. And then I should get my continuation when it happens, if it's Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Now that is a little different on crypto, because crypto has its own mind. It's a whole new way of transacting. So a lot of people are skeptical, a lot of people are optimistic, some people don't know what it is. So they don't that thought process doesn't really relate to crypto. It relates more towards currencies, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. But I follow my rules and I trick myself into not being who I am for a little bit, right? So if I'm greedy or impatient, trick yourself. Find ways to force yourself to be patient because you're still impatient. And that's the truth. You just got to find out who you are. The best way you can do that is writing it down. Why? Because it putting a pen to a paper makes it reality, right? Because now it exists outside of your mind. If that makes sense. Okay, if you say it in your head, oh, yeah, I'm lazy. All right, but if you write it, can your daughter see that you're lazy? Yeah, they read it. Now they know it's in your head. So it's in reality now. All right, so just write it down. Don't try to keep it in your head. It works in your head sometimes, it just takes longer. But if you write it down, just like if you were a heavy set person and you wrote I'm fat, and then someone comes to your house and they go, "Oh shit, you fat?" Yeah, yeah. About that time you admitted it to yourself, you're fat. Like I didn't want to say it, but you wrote it, so I can say it now. So now since you wrote it, you admitted to yourself. I tell you, now you're like, "Oh hell no, now I really got to go to the gym." There's two of us. All right, but it's all a mind game. Trading is a mind game, and the best at it, the people that are best just know themselves the best, and they know how to trick themselves into trading properly. Because again, I'm still greedy. That's why I trade. I'm still impatient, but I trick myself into being patient. But that's about it. I've been going for like almost 2 hours. I can continue to be honest, but we can keep it for another time. I appreciate everyone's time. I hope things were clear. If you didn't ask your question, and oh, hey, I could keep going. I got another 20 minutes in me. I honestly got more like 3-4 hours. Honestly, I love talking about this. I've been doing this for a very long time. I love it. Um, yeah. Everyone tells me that, bro. A lot of people tell me to start YouTubes and Twitch and Kick, man. But for me, again, this is just knowing myself. I'm so much better when I make money in silence. Like, I'll be real. I'll be real. And when they say people change when you make money, I didn't change when I made money. I changed when I made money and other people knew I made money. Because it is a whole different ball game. If you ever made money and showed it, you feel like you always got to show it. All right, so I'm not a fan of the clout. I make my money in silence. And just chill with my family and enjoy my family, man. But I mean, if one of you guys start on it, I'll definitely hop in and talk some shit with you. Nah, definitely not. Definitely not. But yo, open your mics, talk to me, tell me. I need to feel your energy. Right now, I feel like I'm talking to a wall.
Bro, it looks like a Nas corrections happen pretty nice right now. It might
Yeah.
happen too early though.
Hey, that's cool, man. Got my alert there. You know what tends to happen usually is it'll come down here and it'll just fuck around here You know, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday might come up a little bit, get the early buyers in, and then drop again, and just play around here. So if it drops, it's cool. If it comes down here and then takes off, that's also cool. That's also a probability, but that would just be another indication above this price, which is another high correction, and I'll take it higher. And usually when you wait, you get a better risk to reward.
Yeah, I'm probably going to sell my hands and wait for that trade and take that on the fund it so I can pass it. I only need 2,200. I made back 500. Well, I lost last week, but
It's all good, man. It's all good, man. I love those challenges really because they're really just a mental challenge for yourself. Not more so for the money of it, because there's no money in it. At least not for the trader.
I mean, I'll be honest with, I mean, you know how everyone feels about fundits, but at the end of the day, it's like even though you put that $100 in to access a certain amount of capital, even though it's a demo, it kind of lets you get past like seeing certain numbers. Like say if you're only able to fund your own account with $100 to $200, where you're only used to seeing it go down so much or go up so much in a trade, as to where if you do a demo, you could see higher numbers, but you won't feel nothing with it, as to where you pay a prop firm to access it, you can kind of feel some type of emotion to that higher balance and those bigger trades, and you can kind of get used to seeing it. So it could possibly help your psychology out, if you understand trading and can actually successfully trade, to where when you do go to the smaller balance, it's not about the balance anymore. It's just get your percentages, get in and out of the trade and do your thing, and the balance will follow. But I think that's a thing psychology wise, is a lot of people aren't used to seeing certain amounts of money.
I mean, I'll tell you this much. Here's another trick. I don't look at the money.
No, I think that's what hems me up a little bit, and then maybe some
never look
other
at it.
people.
Let me correct that. I do my best never to look at it. Not that I never look at it, because I got to close the trade, but
I mean,
don't look-
especially if you are in a trade, you don't want to psych yourself out, especially if you see red. Because
Yeah.
one thing people don't understand starting out trading is you're instantly going to go red on that trade unless you got lucky and didn't hit drawdown. That's
100%.
what a lot of people don't understand.
I mean, the house got to make money first, so you're gonna be red. Always. I agree, man. No, you're spot on though. You're spot on with the prop firms. I just personally, I come from an era where there were no prop firms, so I know it's possible, and I know the psychology behind the prop firms. I know the business side of the prop firms. I know how they think, why they set up the rules that way. They're just not set up for traders to win. If they wanted you to win, there would be no daily drawdown rules.
Right.
It's just set up for you to lose. However, it can teach you how to trade properly as well. So I don't want to completely bash them.
No, for sure. I understand that. Definitely makes sense.
Aisha, you got any questions? Because you're the one that making me stay here. You're the one that said
It ain't me, it's everybody. I'm just speaking for the collective.
no, it's you. I saw what what? We wouldn't want you to stop. Yeah, that was you.
I mean,
I said we all could be here for hours. You never seen when me and D we be on the thing for hours, just talking, chilling, listening to music, blowing at screens.
I had my my green stick figure guy holding the platter up there the other day, but the price fell through the platter.
That's because you didn't have one of them strong plates. You had them little Dollar Tree straight plates.
Hey, don't talk about Dollar Tree like that. That's my first job.
That's every trader's first, not their first job, but something like it.
Bro, it wasn't a bad job for, a 10th grader in high school, I'd go there after school for about 5 to 7 hours, depending on the day. And it was easy, stand behind a cash register and cash people out, or you'd go stock some shelves. Can't get much simpler than that.
I hear that, man. 10th grade, some money in your pocket is that's all you need, man.
I won't say what the pay was. The pay was shit back then. It was like $6.50 an hour for minimum wage, like terrible. But back then, $6.50 is worth a lot more.
So you're a dinosaur like me then.
Yeah, like I'm glad I didn't start on a lower minimum wage before that. Goodness gracious. What was it before that? Like $4?
Yeah, something like that. 450, 575.
Federally is still $7.25, which is nuts.
Where?
like federally in the US, it's still $7.25. They have not increased the federal minimum wage. Only states have increased the state minimum wage.
Wow, that's poverty. That's fucked up.
I couldn't imagine going anywhere making $7.25 an hour. Like you're working an hour for almost a tank of gas at this point, or 2 gallons.
Where you from? What's your name? Blue. Oh, it's Blue. You said.
You sound like you know. I sound like
Um,
you sound like somebody I know. I don't know. I can't tell you where I'm from, man, until you tell me where you're from.
I was born in Georgetown, Guyana, South America, and I live in Maryland, but I'm in DC right now because like the DC, DMV area, DC, Maryland, Virginia, it's all so close. Like right now I'm doing DoorDash in DC, but any delivery can take me in Maryland or VA, etc. It's all like I can drive to some areas in Maryland, DC, and VA all within like 1 hour or less. So that gives you an idea how close it
Big
is.
radius. That's a big radius.
Right. But yeah, I'm in DC at the moment. Once I'm done working, I'll be heading back home to Maryland.
Yeah, man. Be
I'm
safe.
out here doing DoorDash deliveries.
Hey, do your thing, man. I'm from Jersey.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
How
Jamie's
long have you been trading?
Actually, in like I don't know the exact date. It's like the 12th to the 15th of this month will be 13 years.
Wow.
oh yeah.
So,
I'm in
wow.
Southwest Virginia, so I'm about 4 hours southwest of you, Josh.
Cool.
Southwest. Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm outside of Roanoke. Jamie
I
direct
think
messaged me on Zoom, said something about why we all live in Maryland.
so. The money's at.
I
Do
don't want,
you
I hate Nova.
Blue Ocean, do you go by that or like do you have a preferred name that people usually call you?
No. Some people call me Hollywood. People that know me for trading. Um, but
Hollywood?
Hollywood, but my name is Tim.
Tim.
On Discord, I'm sure you've seen him. He's the Wolf of Wall Street on Discord.
Okay.
If that
Yeah,
helps you put 2 and 2 together.
I definitely noticed him a while ago, like when I first got in there. I
Yeah,
was like,
you're probably seeing the similarities between the charts he's sharing between Discord and there. Like, who is this guy?
I
Yeah.
really noticed that part much, but I definitely noticed like with a lot of advice he was like giving to people, I could tell like he really knew. Like I could tell you really know what you're talking about, Tim. But in the Telegram chart, I'm in the Telegram chat. I just haven't been in there much. Like when you like, I just haven't noticed you much in there so far until like the last few days, really.
Now, the reason why I even went in this chat is that I appreciate. It seems like this Telegram is much more serious. It's a smaller group. It's much more serious on like understanding the charts and more proactive and just less noise. There's a lot of noise in that Discord.
I feel you.
Yeah, because that Discord alone has 20,500 members now.
Wow.
And you gotta think at least 10% of that is active day in, day out, if not at least 15% during trading day. So it's like the ICC traders chat, you get so many people in there just spreading so much noise that has no relation to ICC or the purpose of the actual chat, and that can cause a lot of confusion. And that's kind of why Keys and them made the Telegram so they could share their charts more on a personal basis, have better explanations, and can teach what they know from ICC and be able to help you so you can go back in that Telegram or that Discord and help other people learn it or help them sharpen it up. So that way we can start spreading it faster and people can start reading the charts, in the ICC way. It's nice and simple.
Yeah, I feel you. Makes sense.
Because I mean, at the end of the day, think about it from like a new person perspective. If you've never seen a chart before, never learned a strategy or anything, and you come and you're trying to learn this ICC thing, you've watched all size videos, and then you're sitting in the ICC traders only chat, and you got people talking about fair value gaps and this and that, and support resistance and all these other things, outside of like what Side talks in his videos and whatnot, and it's so much noise that it gets confusing. And then you got people sharing these signals in there, buy this, buy that, sell this. And as a new trader, anytime you see that, it's like, oh, let me get in there. Let me get in there. You know what I'm saying? You're not thinking about it, you just see it and you act on what you see without analyzing it or understanding why they sent that signal for whatever reason they sent it. And I can speak from experience that's not the best thing you could do as a new trader. It's going to really throw you off, and you're most likely going to lose your capital taking signals from people, even if it looks like they've been winning all their trades. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why you do not take signals unless you're analyzing that signal on your own chart before you take it.
Definitely understand what you're saying, because that was one of my biggest mistakes.
That's
And I still
basically
trying to
FOMO.
struggle with it, right?
That's
FOMO.
basically FOMO, because you see that signal and then it gives you that fear of missing out, because now you've seen a signal, even though they probably didn't take that trade or they were waiting to take it, you ended up jumping in early just because you've seen the signal. You see what I'm saying? It's something in your psychology that'll set you up for that, to where it's like you're gonna have the fear of missing out, then you get greedy, so then you throw a little bit heavier at that trade because there's a signal, and then blasey, and then you don't know how to control your emotions in that trade because you don't know how they seen it or why they call that signal. So it's just like you're leading to your own downfall.
Sounds about right for sure. Definitely.
But no, definitely appreciate your time, Blue Ocean. It was
sure.
definitely great. I think at another time it'd be good to go over the same stuff, and then I think you personally, you know, since you've been doing great, I think that you can help people with psychology for sure. Especially if someone shares like an issue or a problem, you can kind of go over it in a different perspective for them, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm super open to it. Like I said, man, I can speak about this like all day. To be honest, I'm like, if you speak to me about anything else, I'm kind of awkward. Yeah.
No, I feel you. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like the way you read out the charts, it's like I said, it's like reading a book, you know, and that's kind of what I feel like people don't do, you know, because you got to start from your higher time frame and see what the story's telling you and work down and work down. But most people, it's like they might start at a higher time frame, but then they'll get down to a lower time frame and then jump down to something below the hour. And then that's where the bias gets confused and it can go left or right on whatever can happen from there.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
because they stopped looking at the bigger picture, remembering what was going on in the bigger picture. And I can say that for myself, because like I'll jump down from the alley, get on the 5, and then you know the 5's going this way, that way, this way, and then it's like you forgot what was really going on, and you didn't center back to what you need to center to stay on your plan.
Yeah, yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm glad that you said that. But if I asked you what's the reason you're going down to M5?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's like that's where I guess you look for your more refined entries, but at the same time, I guess that's where it comes in, just trying to find a trade to find a trade. If you really think about it like that, you know what I'm saying? Because on the 5 minute, you could find more opportunities as long as you know you're looking on the bigger time frame. But at the same time, it's like you can still mess yourself up. So that's
Right.
one reason, like I don't recommend going to the 5 unless you're looking for your entry from the higher time frame if you want to get really refined. But yeah, like I say, the 5 minute, the reasons I get on there is either for scalping, because usually I scalp better on the 5 minute than on the 1 minute if I am in a scalping mindset for the day. But like the 5 minute, it's like it does get a little bit noisy for sure, to where you can make irrational decisions if it's not near the zone that you're looking at on the higher time frame for sure. But I will say that the lower time frames, if you're not scalping and you're not following a scalping plan, it can be very irrational and a lot of bad decision making on a 5 minute, especially the 1 minute. Remember that one day Pinky on the 1 minute on NAS? Oh goodness.
So one,
Yeah, don't ask. She's scalping on it one day. She's doing good, and then I joined in and I messed myself up. Learn not to do that again.
yes, learned. How long has everybody been
Yeah, you be
trading?
scary, D.
Hey, don't call me out like that.
I'm sorry. Only brave ones can scalp with me.
So hey, I scout better off the 5, okay? But
I like
for
the one. It's very fun. It's like riding a roller coaster.
for me,
It's
I came across like crypto back in like 2011 when Bitcoin was like around $11. I tried to buy some, but MoneyGram wouldn't let me send the money to this guy in Jamaica for it. I can't remember. Because it's hard to get on like exchanges back then and shit, like Mt. Gox and all those other ones. So I didn't get it then, and then I eventually got some like between 2015 and 17. Like 2017 is when I really started getting into crypto, not knowing shit. And I put like $2,000 into this one when I moved to Denver called I can't remember off the tip of my tongue. But it was like some coin out in fucking China, and it ended up going from like I think my average was like at 8 cents a coin or token, and it ended up making it to like 55, 60 cents. I was up like 20 or 40 bands, and 20 to 50 bands, somewhere in between there is some crazy number, and I did not take profit or cash out. Big lesson learned. And then 2017 is also when I first learned about Forex and started learning, all that. And I feel sorry for anyone that learned through IML or came across IML with all those people and how they portray trading or try to show you certain strategies and all this shit. Because as a new trader, some of the shit they showed was just not right at all. But basically, yeah, that's basically where my journey started up until now. And then I got back into trading back in September, and then that's when I flipped my Henko Trader account, like 3 or 4x, and then I'm losing out on my Sway account. But it is what it is.
Oh, good. We're still recording. Should I stop it? I guess.
Yeah, I guess you can.
Let's see.